Her groom ran mid-vows. Before she could breathe, the ground shook. 600 motorcycles stormed the chapel, led by the biker who vanished from her life 10 years ago. He came with one mission: stop her from making the biggest mistake of her life. The organist hit the wrong key. Jada noticed it immediately. A sour note cutting through Pachelbel's canon like a bad omen. She forced a smile anyway, her hands trembling around the bouquet of white roses her mother had insisted on. 400 guests stared at her from the pews of Mount Zion Church, their faces blurred by the late afternoon sun streaming through stained glass windows. "Do you, Michael Jamal Harris?" "Take this woman." Jada's heart hammered. This was it. The moment she planned for 2 years. The moment that would transform her from Jada Washington, the girl who never quite fit into Mrs. Harris, respectable wife of the town's most promising young accountant. Michael's hand was sweating in hers. Eyed, his voice cracked. Jada squeezed his fingers, thinking he was just nervous. They'd rehearsed this last night over soul food. He practiced his vows while she laughed at how seriously he took everything. But Michael wasn't looking at her. He was staring at the chapel doors like a trapped animal, eyeing an exit. "Michael," Pastor Johnson prompted gently. The seconds stretched. Jada's smile felt painted on, her cheeks aching. Somewhere in the third row, her mother shifted uncomfortably. The chapel had gone so quiet. Jada could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. "I can't." Michael's whisper was barely audible. Jada blinked. "What? I can't do this." Louder now. His face had gone white, his pupils dilated. "I'm sorry, Jada, I'm so sorry." He dropped her hand. Then he turned and ran. Not walked, not hesitated. Ran. His dress shoes slapped against the stone floor as he sprinted down the aisle, his jacket flapping behind him. The heavy chapel doors crashed open. Sunlight flooded in, and Michael Jamal Harris, her groom, disappeared into it. The chapel erupted. Gasps, shouts. Jada's mother let out a sound like a wounded animal. Jada stood frozen at the altar, the bouquet slipping from her numb fingers and hitting the floor with a soft thud. This wasn't real. This was a nightmare. Any second now, she'd wake up. The ground began to shake. At first, Jada thought it was her knees giving out. But no, the wooden pews were vibrating. The stained glass windows rattled in their frames. And then came the sound, a low rumble that grew into a roar. Engines, dozens of them. No, hundreds. Pastor Johnson's face went pale. What in the name of the roar became deafening? Guests scrambled from the pews, rushing towards the windows and doors. Jada stood paralyzed as people pushed past her, her veil askew, her carefully styled hair coming loose. "Jada," her father grabbed her arm, "stay here." But curiosity, or maybe shock, propelled her forward. She lifted her heavy skirt and followed the crowd outside. The sight stole her breath. Motorcycles. Hundreds of them stretching down the narrow country lane as far as she could see. Chrome gleaming in the golden hour light. Riders in black leather, some with bandanas, others with full helmets. The lead bike sat directly in front of the chapel steps, its engine idling with a predatory purr. The rider removed his helmet. Jada's world tilted. Dark hair longer than she remembered. Sharp jaw covered in stubble. Eyes the color of storm clouds that found hers across the chaos and held Darius. Her voice came out strangled. Darius King, the boy who'd taught her to ride a bike when she was 7, the teenager who'd kissed her under the bleachers at 16, the man who'd vanished from her life 10 years ago without a word, without a text, without a single explanation. He swung off the bike with the same easy grace she remembered. Though everything else about him had changed. He was broader, harder, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow and tattoos crawling up his neck. Jada, her name on his lips after 10 years of silence, hit her like a physical blow. The other bikers killed their engines one by one. The silence somehow louder than the noise had been. 600 pairs of eyes watched the abandoned bride in her white dress and the biker who'd just stormed her wedding with an army. "What?" Jada's voice failed. She tried again. "What are you doing here?" Darius's jaw tightened. "Stopping you from making the biggest mistake of your life. You have no right." Her mother appeared at her elbow, face flushed with rage. "How dare you? This is a private ceremony. I'm calling the police. Michael's been cheating on you." Darius's words cut through the air like a knife for 3 months with his assistant Aisha. The guests behind Jada erupted in fresh whispers, but Jada couldn't hear them over the ringing in her ears. "You're lying, I'm not." Darius took a step forward. Darius took a step. His crew stayed back, watching a wall of leather and steel. He told his college buddy Jamal last week he was getting cold feet. Wanted to call it off, but was too scared of embarrassing you. Jamal told my cousin word got around. Jada's mind spun. Aisha Michael's 24-year-old assistant with the perfect teeth and law degree from Columbia. Jada had met her twice. Both times something in the woman's smile had felt off. Even if that's true, Jada's voice shook with fury. "You think crashing my wedding with your gang is the answer. You left, Darius. You disappeared for 10 years. You don't get to ride back in." "I know." His voice went rough. "I know I have no right, but I couldn't let you marry someone who doesn't deserve you." Behind him, a woman biker whistled low. "Boss, we got company." 2 police cars were turning onto the lane, lights flashing. Darius held Jada's gaze for one more heartbeat. "I'm staying at the old garage on Highway 10. If you want the truth about Michael, about any of it, you know where to find me." He turned back to his bike, movements fluid and practiced. The other riders fired up their engines in a coordinated wave of thunder. Darius waited, but he was already gone, leading his convoy down the lane like a general at the head of an army. The roar faded slowly, leaving only the wail of approaching sirens and the shocked murmurs of 400 wedding guests. Jada stood on the chapel steps in her ruined dress, watching the dust settle on the road where both her groom and her first love had disappeared. She looked down at her left hand at the engagement ring that suddenly felt like a shackle. And for the first time in 2 years, Jada Washington had absolutely no idea what came next. The police took statements for 3 hours. Jada sat in the church office, still in her wedding dress. Mascara streaked down her cheeks like war paint. Officer Washington, who'd given her a speeding ticket 3 years ago, kept asking if the bikers had threatened anyone. "No," Jada repeated for the 5th time. "They just showed up." Her father paced behind her, phone pressed to his ear, trying to manage the disaster. Her mother had locked herself in the bathroom, refusing to come out. Through the office window, Jada watched guests lingering in the parking lot, phones out, recording videos for social media. By tomorrow, she'd be viral. The abandoned bride, the wedding crashers. She could already see the headlines. "Miss Washington, Officer Washington closes notebook. We can't arrest anyone if no crime was committed. The bikers didn't trespass on private property. The road's public. They didn't threaten anyone. And as for Mr. Harris..." He cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Running out on your own. Wedding isn't illegal." Jada laughed. The sound came out strangled and slightly unhinged. Her phone buzzed for the 100th time. Text after text. Call after call. She'd stopped checking an hour ago, but one name kept appearing on the screen. Michael. Finally, she answered. "Jada, thank God." His voice was thick, like he'd been crying. "I'm so sorry, I'm so fucking sorry." I panicked. The pressure, the expectations, everyone watching. "Were you sleeping with Aisha?" Silence. "Michael, answer me." It was one time his voice cracked. 2 months ago at the office party, I was drunk. She was there and it just happened. It meant nothing. Jada hung up. She stared at the phone in her hand at the screensaver photo of them in front of the Statue of Liberty last spring. He'd proposed at the top. She'd said yes before he'd even finished asking, swept up in the romance of it all. Had he been thinking about Aisha even then? Jada, sweetheart. Her father crouched in front of her, his face lined with worry. We need to get you out of here. The reporters are starting to arrive. Reporters. Someone posted video of those bikers. It's spreading fast. He rubbed his temples. Your mother and I think it's best if you go to your grandmother's farmhouse for a few days. Let things cool down. The farmhouse, 3 hours north, surrounded by nothing but fields and forest. Jada's grandmother had left it to her when she died 2 years ago, but Jada hadn't visited since the funeral. I don't want to hide. You're not hiding. You're recovering. Her father's voice was firm. The town's already talking, Jada, about Michael, about those bikers, about everything. You need space. Space. What she really needed was answers. But her father's expression told her arguing was pointless. Fine, she whispered. I'll go. 4 days later, Jada sat on the farmhouse porch in sweatpants and one of her grandmother's old flannel shirts, watching the sunset paint the fields gold. Her phone had finally stopped buzzing. Michael had left 15 voicemails before apparently giving up. Her mother called twice a day to ask if she was eating. Her best friend Tiana had driven up yesterday with wine and ice cream, which helped more than Jada wanted to admit. But she couldn't stop thinking about Darius's face. The way he'd looked at her like the past 10 years hadn't happened, like he still knew her. You know where to find me. The sound of an engine cut through the evening quiet. Jada's heart jumped. She stood, gripping the porch railing as a single motorcycle appeared at the end of the long dirt driveway. Black and chrome engine purring like a panther. The rider killed the engine and removed his helmet. Darius, you've got to be kidding me, Jada muttered. He approached slowly, hands visible, like he was approaching a spooked horse. This is on my regular route. I ride through here most weeks. Convenient. Yeah. He stopped at the bottom of the porch steps. Up close, she could see the exhaustion in his eyes. Look, I know you're angry. Angry? Jada's voice went sharp. You crashed my wedding, Darius, with 600 bikers. You humiliated me in front of everyone I know, and before that, you vanished for 10 years without a single word. So, yeah, angry doesn't quite cover it. I had my reasons for leaving. Then share them, because from where I'm standing, you're just another man who walked away when things got hard. Darius flinched like she'd slapped him. My brother was dying. The words hung in the air between them. What? Malik. Darius's voice went rough. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer right after high school, given 6 months. I dropped everything to take care of him. Jada's anger faltered. Malik had cancer for 4 years, longer than any doctor predicted. Darius looked away, jaw tight. I couldn't drag you into that. You had college, your whole future. I wasn't going to ask you to put your life on hold to watch my brother die. So you just left? No explanation. No goodbye. I thought it would be easier. Cleaner. He met her eyes. I was wrong. Jada's throat tightened. Malik. Sweet. Funny. Malik, who'd taught her to play guitar. Who'd always treated her like a little sister. I'm sorry, she whispered about Malik. Me too. They stood in silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Jada's anger was still there, but it had shifted, making room for something more complicated. Why did you really come to my wedding? She asked quietly. Darius climbed the steps until they were face to face. Because I couldn't watch you marry someone who doesn't see you the way I do. And how do you see me? He smiled, sad and knowing, like you're the only real thing in a world full of copies. Jada's breath caught. Before she could respond, Darius stepped back. One ride tomorrow. No pressure, no expectations. Just you, me, and the road to clear your head. He was walking away before she could answer, helmet under his arm. Darius. He turned. I'll think about it. His smile was genuine this time. That's all I'm asking. Jada woke to her phone, exploding with notifications. She grabbed it groggy, squinting at the screen. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, which she barely used. Her hand shook as she scrolled for the first few posts. Runaway groom trending nationwide. Someone had uploaded professional quality video of Michael sprinting down the aisle. Another showed the bikers arriving. Darius removing his helmet in slow motion like a movie scene. The comments were brutal. Plot twist of the century. This bride deserves better. I need this as a Netflix series. Who's the hot biker, though? Eyes. But then she saw the other posts, the tabloid articles, the think pieces. Biker gang terrorizes small-town wedding. 600 motorcycles storm church. Groom flees in fear. Bride's secret past. Who is the mysterious Darius King? Someone had dug up her high school yearbook photos. Pictures of her and Darius at prom, his arm around her waist. Both of them grinning like they own the world. The caption read, "Childhood sweethearts reunited, but at what cost?" Jada's stomach turned. They were making her a story, not a person, a headline. Her mother called at 8 a.m. "Have you seen the news? No greeting. Just panic, Jada. They're camped outside our house. Reporters with cameras. Mom, I'm sorry, your father's business is getting calls. They're asking if he knew about your biker boyfriend. The Thompsons canceled their dinner party because they don't want to be associated with." Her voice broke. This is a nightmare. Jada closed her eyes. The Thompsons. Community club friends who donated to her father's city council campaign last year. Of course, they distanced themselves. "What do you want me to do?" "Stay away from that man." Her mother's voice turned hard. "Darius King and his gang have done enough damage. If you're seen with him again, it will destroy what's left of this family's reputation." The line went dead. Jada sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, feeling like she was drowning. Her perfect life had imploded in 4 days. Her engagement was over. Her town had turned her into entertainment. Her family was ashamed of her, and the only person offering her an escape was the man who'd broken her heart 10 years ago. A knock on the door made her jump. She pulled on a robe and opened it to find Tiana standing there with coffee and a bag of donuts. "You look like hell," Tiana said cheerfully, pushing past her into the kitchen. "Thanks. Saw the news. All of it." Tiana poured them both coffee. "For what it's worth, I always thought Michael was boring. This biker guy, though," she whistled low. "Jada Washington, you've been holding out on me. It's not like that." "Then what is it like?" Tiana leaned against the counter, suddenly serious. "Because from where I'm sitting, you've spent 10 years dating safe guys, nice guys, boring guys. And the second your wild card shows up, your whole carefully constructed life falls apart. That's not fair, isn't it?" Tiana took a sip of coffee. "I've known you since college, Jada. You've always played it safe. Good grades, respectable job at the community center, engagement to an accountant. You do everything right, follow every rule. And where did it get you? Abandoned at the altar." The words stung because they were true. "What am I supposed to do? Run off with Darius?" "I don't even know him anymore." "So get to know him," Tiana shrugged. "Or don't, but stop making decisions based on what other people expect. Your mom, your dad, this town, they don't get to write your story." After Tiana left, Jada stood in the shower for 25 minutes, letting the hot water wash away the tension. When she emerged, she caught her reflection in the mirror. Her hair was tangled. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. She looked tired, broken. But underneath it all, she saw something else. A spark, a question. What if? She grabbed her phone and typed before she could overthink it. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., one ride. Darius's response came in seconds. I'll be there. That evening, Jada's father called. Jada, sweetheart, we need to talk about moving forward. I'm not coming home yet, Dad. That's not, he sighed. Michael's family reached out. They want to issue a joint statement. Mutual decision to part ways. Best wishes for the future. It would help both families move on. A cover-up. Damage control, he corrected. The Harrises are well connected. It's in everyone's best interest to handle this gracefully. Jada thought about Michael's 15 voicemails, his tearful confession. Aisha. No, Jada. He cheated on me, Dad. He humiliated me. And now his family wants me to help save his reputation. Her voice was still. No, let him deal with the consequences. Silence stretched across the line. Is this about that biker? Her father's voice went cold. Because if you're making decisions based on some high school romance, this is about me, Jada interrupted. For once in my life, this is about what I want. Now it looks good, not what people expect. Me? She hung up before he could respond. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. From something else entirely. Freedom. The next morning, Jada pulled on jeans and a leather jacket she'd found in her grandmother's closet. She braided her hair and skipped the makeup. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Maybe that was the point. At exactly 11 a.m., she heard the motorcycle. Jada grabbed her grandmother's old helmet and walked outside. Darius was waiting at the end of the driveway, engine idling, looking at her like she was the sunrise. You came? He said. I came. She climbed on behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. His leather jacket was warm from the sun. One ride, that's it. One ride, he agreed. The engine roared to life beneath them, and Jada Washington, for the first time in her carefully planned life, had absolutely no idea where she was going. It felt perfect. The world disappeared into wind and speed. Jada had forgotten what this felt like. The rush of air stealing her breath, the rumble of the engine vibrating through her bones, the way fear and exhilaration mixed until they became the same thing. Darius took the back roads, avoiding the highway. They carved through valleys where morning mist still clung to the ground, past abandoned barns and fields of wild sunflowers, through tunnels of trees that turned the sunlight green and gold. Jada pressed closer, her arms tight around his waist. She felt his heartbeat through the leather, steady, strong, real. No words, no expectations, just this. After an hour, Darius pulled into a roadside diner that looked frozen in 1962, faded red booths, checkered floor, a jukebox in the corner playing Patti Cline. Jada removed her helmet, her hair wild and tangled. She was grinning without meaning to. Forgot how much you love speed, Darius said, his own smile crooked. Forgot how good you are at finding the emptiest roads. They slid into a booth by the window. A waitress with a name tag reading Dolores appeared with coffee before they even asked. You two look like you need pie, she announced. Got pecan and cherry both, Jada said impulsively. Darius raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. When Dolores left, the silence between them felt different than it had on the bike. Heavier, full of 10 years of unsaid things. Malik talked about you, Darius said finally, stirring sugar into his coffee. Even at the end said I was an idiot for leaving the way I did. Jada's chest tightened. He was right. Yeah. Darius's jaw worked. He died thinking I'd ruined the best thing that ever happened to me. Did you? He looked up, storm-gray eyes meeting hers. Every day for 10 years I told myself I did the right thing, that you were better off without me dragging you down, that you'd moved on, found someone stable, built the life you deserve. His voice dropped. Then I heard you were marrying Michael Harris. And I realized I've been lying to myself. He leaned forward because Michael Harris is exactly who I thought you should be with. Safe, respectable, everything. I'm not, and I hated it. Jada's heart hammered. So you crash my wedding out of jealousy? No. His voice was firm. I crash your wedding because Jamal showed me texts. Michael joking about his ball and chain, Aisha sending him pictures I can't unsee, plans to call off the wedding a week before, but deciding it was too late to back out now. Darius's hands curled in a fist on the table. You deserve to know the truth before you made that mistake permanent. The pie arrived. Jada stared at it. Appetite gone. You could have just told me, she said quietly, instead of the dramatic entrance. Would you have believed me? Darius's voice was raw. Some guy you haven't seen in 10 years, showing up out of nowhere with accusations about your perfect fiancé. He was right. She would have thought he was lying, trying to sabotage her happiness out of spite. The 600 bikers was still excessive, she muttered. Darius's laugh was unexpected. Yeah, the club wanted to come. Word spreads fast in our world. They heard one of our own was being disrespected. And he shrugged. We take care of our people. I'm not one of your people. You were. His voice went soft. You still are. You always will be. The words settled between them like a challenge. Jada took a bite of pie, barely tasting it. Outside the window, a family loaded into a minivan. Normal people living normal lives. She wasn't sure she wanted normal anymore. Tell me about the club, she said. What you've been doing. Who you've become. So, he did. Talked about the years on the road after Malik died. How he'd found a brotherhood in a motorcycle club that filled the hole grief had carved in him. Mechanics work in different cities. Long rides through the desert. Sleeping under stars. We're doing a cross-country trip, he said. Leaving in 1 month, coast to coast. Something I've wanted to do since I was 17. And Jada's stomach dropped. 1 month. Yeah, he wouldn't meet her eyes. This was my last stop. Settling some things before we go, before he leaves again. The thought hit her like cold water. She just found him, and he was already preparing to disappear again. How long will you be gone? Indefinitely. Maybe forever. I don't have anything keeping me in one place anymore. He finally looked at her. Unless I find a reason to stay. The words hung there, heavy with meaning. Jada wasn't ready to unpack. I should get back, she said abruptly, standing. My family will worry. Darius's expression shuddered. Right. Yeah. The ride back was different. Jada couldn't relax into it the way she had before. Her mind spun with questions. 1 month. Then he'd be gone. And she'd be what? Back at the farmhouse, hiding from reporters, rebuilding a life in a town that now saw her as entertainment when they pulled up at the farmhouse. Darius killed the engine but didn't move to get off. Jada. Her name was rough in his throat. I came back because I couldn't watch you end up with someone who doesn't see you the way I do. But I'm not asking you to wait for me. Not again. Then what are you asking? He turned to face her. I'm asking for this month. However many rides you'll give me, however many conversations, let me prove that leaving you is my biggest mistake. That's all. Jada climbed off the bike, legs unsteady. Her emotions were a tangled mess. Anger, longing, fear, hope, all fighting for space in her chest. I'll think about it, she said. His smile was sad. That's what you said last time. Last time I agreed. She pulled off the helmet and handed it to him. This time I mean it." She walked to the house without looking back, but she felt his eyes on her until she closed the door. Inside, she leaned against it, heart racing. 1 month? What could happen in 1 month? Everything whispered a voice in her head. Or nothing at all. Jada's phone lit up at midnight with a call from her mother. "Have you seen what they're saying?" "No. Hello." Jada rubbed her eyes, disoriented. "Mom, it's midnight. The town Facebook group. They're calling those bikers dangerous, saying they scared Michael away." "That you are." Her voice cracked that you're having some kind of breakdown and associating with criminals. Jada's blood went cold. She opened her laptop and found the group. 3,000 members, half the town. The comments made her sick. Those bikers are why the Groom ran. Who wouldn't be terrified? Jada Washington always was attention-seeking. This is just her latest drama. I heard that Darius guy has a criminal record. Someone should warn her. The whole family's reputation is ruined. Marcus Washington will never make council member now. Her father's city council appointment. She'd forgotten about it. The vote was in 8 weeks. A new post appeared, tagged with her name. Someone had photographed her on the back of Darius's motorcycle yesterday. The caption read, "Guess the abandoned bride isn't heartbroken after all. Already moved on to the gang leader." 400 likes, 250 comments. Jada slammed the laptop shut, stomach churning. Jada. Her mother's voice was small through the phone. "Are you still there?" "I'm here, please." Desperation bled through. "Stop seeing him. Just for a few weeks until this dies down. Your father's worked his entire career for this council seat. Don't let some teenage romance destroy. I have to go." Jada hung up before her mother could finish. She tried to sleep, but couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those comments. The judgment, the assumptions. By morning, it was worse. The local paper, actual print newspaper that only old people still read, had run a story. Motorcycle gang disrupts wedding. Town residents express concern. They'd interviewed Jada's neighbors, the church committee, even Ms. Thompson from the community club, who called the bikers threatening and inappropriate. One quote stood out. "Jada Washington was a sweet girl before she reconnected with that king boy. I hope she comes to her senses before she gets hurt or worse." Tiana called at 8 a.m. "Don't read the comments," she said immediately. Too late. "Jada, listen. Half of these people are bored idiots with nothing better to do. The other half are your parents' friends protecting their social circle. None of it matters. It matters to my dad's appointment. It matters to my family. Does it matter to you?" Jada didn't answer. That afternoon, she drove into town for groceries. Bad idea. The stairs started in the parking lot. Ms. Patel from the community center where Jada worked looked right through her. At the checkout, the teenage cashier whispered to her coworker, both of them glancing at Jada with barely concealed excitement. In the produce section, she overheard 2 women talking. Absolutely shameless. Back on that motorcycle the very next day, I heard the bikers are dangerous, drug runners or something. Poor Michael. Dodged a bullet if you ask me. Jada abandoned her cart and left. She was sitting in her car, hands shaking when someone knocked on the window. Michael. He looked awful. Unshaven, rumpled suit, eyes bloodshot. "Jada, please, can we talk?" Against her better judgment, she rolled down the window. "I'm not here to make excuses," he said quickly. I'm leaving town, taking a job in Atlanta, starting over. But I needed to tell you I'm sorry. Truly sorry. You deserved better than what I did." "Yeah, I did." He flinched. "The thing is, everyone's blaming Darius, saying he scared me off or ruined everything. But that's not true. I was the coward. I'm the one who cheated. I'm the one who ran his voice dropped. Don't let them make you the villain in a story where I'm the one who screwed up." Jada stared at him. This might be the most honest Michael had been in their entire relationship. Why are you telling me this? Because I destroyed your life enough. I won't let them destroy you too. He stepped back from the car. For what it's worth, Darius looked at you at that wedding the way I never did, like you were the only person in the world. He walked away before she could respond. Jada drove back to the farmhouse in a daze. When she arrived, Darius was there, leaning against his bike at the end of the driveway. "Bad day?" he asked, reading her face. "The worst. Want to talk about it or run from it?" Jada looked at him, really looked at the scars and tattoos and rough edges at the man who'd ridden into her disaster of a life, and refused to apologize for it. "Run from it?" she said. His smile was pure relief. "Your chariot awaits." But before she could move, a black SUV pulled up the driveway. Her father emerged, face thunderous. "Jada, get in the car now, Dad," I said. "Now." He turned to Darius. "And you stay away from my daughter. You've caused enough damage." Darius's expression went hard. "Jada's an adult. She can make her own choices." "Can she?" "Because from where I'm standing, she's making terrible ones." Her father's voice rose. "My family has lived in this town for 4 generations. We have a reputation, connections, a future." "And you?" He jabbed a finger at Darius. "You're destroying all of it." "I'm not destroying anything," Darius said quietly. "Your daughter's fiancé did that when he cheated on her and ran. Don't you dare! Dad, stop!" Jada stepped between them. "Just stop." Her father's expression crumbled. "Jada, please think about what you're doing. That council seat vote is in 8 weeks. If you keep seeing him, I'll lose everything I've worked for." The weight of it crushed down on her. Her father's dream, her mother's anxiety, the town's judgment. Darius's eyes met hers. He said nothing, didn't push, just waited. "I need time," Jada whispered. Darius nodded slowly. "Take all the time you need." He climbed on his bike and rode away without looking back. Her father exhaled. "You made the right choice." But as Jada watched Darius disappear down the road, she wasn't sure she'd made any choice at all. She'd just let fear decide for her. And it felt like losing something she'd never get back. For 4 days, Jada didn't leave the farmhouse. She ignored calls, deleted social media apps, sat on the porch, watching the fields turn gold in the afternoon light, feeling like a ghost haunting her own life. Tiana drove up on the 3rd day with soul food and 0 patience. "Okay, intervention time." She dropped the food on the kitchen table. "You look like you haven't showered in a week." 2 days, Jada muttered. Even worse, Tiana pulled out plates. "Talk to me. What's going on in that head?" "I'm tired." Jada's voice cracked. "Tired of being judged. Tired of disappointing people. Tired of feeling like every choice I make is wrong. So, stop caring what they think. Easy for you to say, your dad's not about to lose his dream job because of your choices." Tiana set down her fork. "Jada, real talk, your dad's a grown man. If he loses that council seat because his adult daughter dated someone the town doesn't approve of that says everything about the people voting and nothing about you, it's not that simple. It is exactly that simple." Tiana leaned forward. "You spend your whole life being what everyone else needed. The perfect daughter, the perfect fiancé, the perfect community center worker who never makes waves. And what did it get you? Abandoned at the altar by a cheating accountant." The words stung because they were true. "Darius is leaving in less than a month," Jada whispered. Even if he's still going." "Then you have 2 choices." Tiana's voice softened. "Let him leave and spend the rest of your life wondering what if, or take the leap and see where it goes." After Tiana left, Jada stood in the shower for 30 minutes. She looked at herself in the mirror. Really looked. The woman staring back was tired, scared, lost. But underneath it all, still fighting to breathe, was the girl who'd once ridden motorcycles with her hair flying free. The girl who'd laughed at danger. The girl who'd loved without fear. She grabbed her keys. The garage on Highway 10 was exactly as she remembered. Concrete floors, the smell of oil and metal, motorcycles in various states of repair lined the walls. Darius was bent over an engine, forearms smudged with grease. He looked up when the door opened, surprise flickering across his face. "Jada, one last ride," she said before she could lose her nerve. "Before you go, one last ride." He straightened slowly. "Your dad? I don't care." The words felt like jumping off a cliff. "I'm done making decisions based on what other people want. Tonight, I want this. I want you. I want to feel something other than trapped." Darius's jaw tightened. "It's dark. The roads are dangerous at night." "Good." Jada met his eyes. "I want dangerous." Something shifted in his expression. He grabbed his jacket and a helmet, then paused. "You sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." They rode into the night. No destination, no plan, just the highway stretching endlessly ahead, illuminated by the motorcycle's single headlight. The world narrowed to wind and speed and the solid warmth of Darius's body in front of her. They rode for hours through sleeping towns and empty stretches of farmland, past truck stops glowing like oases in the darkness under bridges where their engine echoed back at them. Finally, Darius pulled off onto a dirt road that led to an overlook. Below them, the valley spread out like a sea of lights. He killed the engine. The silence was deafening. Jada climbed off, legs shaky. The night air was cool, but she felt feverish. Everything inside her was breaking open and she couldn't stop it. "I'm terrified," she said to the darkness. "Michael left me at the altar. My family's ashamed of me. My entire town thinks I'm having a breakdown." "And you?" Her voice broke. "You're leaving in 1 month, and I don't know if I can survive being left again." Darius stepped closer. "Jada, let me finish." She turned to face him. 10 years ago, you left without saying goodbye. You broke my heart. And I spent years trying to be someone who couldn't be broken again. Someone careful, someone safe, and it was all a lie." Tears streamed down her cheeks now, hot and unstoppable. "The truth is, I never stopped loving you. Not really. Michael was safe, easy, expected. But he was never you." She laughed bitterly. "And now you're back, and you're leaving again, and I don't know what to do with that." Darius closed the distance between them. His hands cupped her face, thumbs brushing away her tears. "Leaving you was my biggest regret," he said roughly. "Every day for 10 years I thought about you. Wonder if you were happy, if you'd found someone who deserved you. And when I heard you were getting married, I told myself to let you go. But you didn't." "No," his forehead touched hers. "Because I'm selfish. Because even after everything, I couldn't stand the thought of you marrying someone else. Because I love you, Jada. I never stopped. Not for a single goddamn day." Her breath caught. "I'm leaving in 1 month," he continued, voice raw. "That's true. But I'm not asking you to wait for me. I'm asking you to come with me." Jada's world tilted. "What?" "Come with me. Coast to coast. No timeline, no pressure, just you and me and the road." His eyes were fierce. "I know it's crazy. I know it's fast, but we've wasted 10 years already. I'm not wasting another day. My family will survive without you micromanaging their feelings. My job is at a community center that just gave you unpaid leave because they're embarrassed by the publicity. The town doesn't deserve you." Jada stared at him, at this man who'd crashed her wedding and turned her life upside down. Who was offering her freedom with one hand while holding his heart in the other? "I'm scared," she whispered. "Me too," he smiled. "Say yes anyway." And Jada Washington, who'd spent 29 years playing it safe, made the most reckless decision of her life. Yes. Jada woke the next morning with Darius's jacket draped over her like a blanket. They'd stayed at the Overlook until dawn, talking about everything and nothing. Route plans, favorite songs, the future that suddenly felt possible instead of terrifying. When the sun rose, painting the valley in shades of pink and gold, Jada had felt something shift inside her chest. Hope. But reality crashed back in when she drove home and found her parents' car in the driveway. Her mother was pacing the porch, phone clutched in her hand. Her father sat on the steps, head in his hands. They both looked like they'd aged 10 years overnight. "Where have you been?" Her mother's voice was shrill. "We've been calling for hours. We thought something happened." "I was with Darius." The words dropped like a bomb. Her father stood slowly. "Jada, we need to talk inside now." The farmhouse kitchen had never felt smaller. Jada leaned against the counter while her parents stood across from her like prosecutors. "The Thompson dinner is tonight," her mother started. "The one where your father will meet the committee members who vote on city council appointments. We need you there to show we're a stable, united family." "I'm not going." Her mother's face crumbled. "Jada, please let me handle this, Lorraine." Her father's voice was controlled, but Jada could see the fury beneath. "Jada, I've been patient. I've tried to understand, but this ends now. That biker is leaving town, and you need to accept that. I know he's leaving." Jada took a breath. "I'm going with him." Silence. Then her mother laughed. A high, hysterical sound. "Don't be ridiculous. You have a life here, a job, a home. You can't just, I can't." Jada's voice was steady. "Already quit the community center. I'm putting the farmhouse up for rent, and in 1 month I'm leaving." Her father's face went purple over my dead body. "Dad, no." He slammed his hand on the counter. "I will not watch you throw your life away on some fantasy. That man disappeared for 10 years. He'll do it again. And when he does, when you're stranded, God knows where with nothing, don't come crying to us." "Marcus," her mother warned. "She needs to hear this." Her father turned back to Jada. "You think this is romance? It's not. It's a late 20s crisis. You're running from embarrassment, from Michael, from responsibility. But running doesn't solve anything. I'm not running." Jada's voice rose to match his. "I am choosing. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing what I want instead of what everyone expects." "And what about what we want?" Her mother's voice broke. "What about your father's career? What about this family's reputation? What about my happiness?" Jada shot back. "When does that matter?" "Happiness is a luxury, Jada." Her father's voice went cold. "Adults make sacrifices. They honor commitments. They don't abandon their families on a whim. The way you're about to abandon me." The words hung in the air like poison. Her father's face hardened. "If you leave with that man, don't expect us to be here when you get back." "If you get back, Marcus," her mother gasped. "I mean it." He looked at Jada like she was a stranger. "You make this choice. You make it knowing the consequences. No safety net, no family support, nothing." Jada felt something crack inside her chest. This was it. The moment where she chose between the life she'd always known and the one she dreamed of. "Then I guess I'm choosing nothing," she whispered. Her mother started crying. Her father turned and walked out without another word. The screen door slammed behind him like a gunshot. Jada stood in the kitchen, shaking as her mother sobbed. "Mom, how could you?" Her mother's voice was raw. "How could you do this to us? I'm not doing anything to you. I'm just living my life." "No." Her mother wiped her eyes. "You're being selfish. You're choosing some man over your own family. I'm choosing myself." Jada corrected quietly. "There's a difference." Her mother looked at her like she didn't recognize her. Then she followed Jada's father out to the car. Jada watched them drive away, taillights disappearing down the long driveway. Then she sat on the kitchen floor and cried until she had nothing left. Tiana found her there an hour later. "Heard your parents left in a rage," Tiana said, sliding down to sit beside her. "Want to talk about it?" "I told them I'm leaving with Darius," Dad said. "If I go, I'm not welcome back." "Jesus," Tiana pulled her into a hug. "Jada, I'm sorry. Don't be." Jada's voice was muffled against Tiana's shoulder. "You were right. I can't live my life for them anymore. Even if it cost me everything, it won't cost you everything. You've got me and you've got yourself. That's more than enough." That evening, Jada drove to Darius's garage. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the concrete floor. Darius took one look at her face and pulled her into his arms. "Tell me," he said quietly. So she did. Told him about her father's ultimatum, her mother's tears, the way her family had looked at her like she was someone they didn't know. "We don't have to do this," Darius said when she finished. "I can go alone. You can stay." "No." Jada pulled back to look at him. "I'm done staying. I'm done making myself small to fit into other people's lives." She took his hand. "I want this. I want you. I want a road. And if that means losing everything else, then that's the price." Darius's eyes were suspiciously bright. "You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." He kissed her then, soft and desperate and full of promise. When they broke apart, he was smiling. "1 month," he said. "Then we ride." 1 month. Jada agreed. She looked around the garage at the motorcycles, at the maps pinned to the wall, at the beginning of something wild and uncertain and completely hers. For the first time since Michael had run down that aisle, Jada felt like she could breathe. She was terrified, heartbroken, free, and she couldn't wait to see what happened next. The month passed in a blur of preparation and goodbyes. Jada sold her furniture, donated her books, packed her life into 2 duffel bags. The farmhouse went up for rent within days. A young couple from the city looking for a quiet escape. She signed the papers without hesitation. Tiana helped her shop for road gear, leather jacket, sturdy boots, gloves that actually fit. They spent the last evening together drinking wine on the farmhouse porch, watching the sunset. "You're really doing this," Tiana said. "Not quite a question. I'm really doing this. Call me, text me, send postcards from weird roadside attractions." Tiana's voice cracked. "Don't disappear on me. Never." Jada squeezed her hand. "You're the sister I chose. That doesn't change because I'm on a different road." They cried and laughed and made promises to visit. When Tiana left, Jada felt the loss like a physical ache, but underneath it was something stronger. Excitement. The day before departure, Jada's phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello, Jada. It's Michael." She almost hung up, but something in his tone stopped her. "I'm in Atlanta now," he said quietly. "Starting fresh. Therapy twice a week. Trying to figure out who I am when I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not." "Good for you. I heard you're leaving town with Darius." Jada's grip tightened on the phone. "Who told you?" "Small town. Word spreads." He paused. "I called to say I'm happy for you, and I'm sorry for all of it. You deserve someone who is brave enough to choose you. I'm glad you found him." The apology she needed at the altar finally arrived. Too late to change anything. Just in time to let her let go. "Thank you," she said softly. "I hope you find what you're looking for, Michael. You too, Jada. Be happy." The line went dead. Jada stared at her phone, feeling a chapter close. No anger left, no bitterness, just a quiet understanding that some people come into your life to teach you what you don't want. Michael taught her she was done settling. Departure day arrived with clear skies and cool morning air. The convoy gathered in the town square at dawn. 60 bikes instead of 600. The core crew making the full cross-country journey. They look like something out of a movie. Leather and chrome and freedom distilled into mechanical form. Jada stood at the edge of the square in her new jacket, helmet under her arm, heart hammering against her ribs. A crowd had gathered, not the whole town, but enough. Some curious, some disapproving, some actually smiling. Ms. Patel from the community center approached, surprising Jada completely. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, "for judging you, for not standing up for you." When others talked, she pressed something into Jada's hand. A book on the road by Jack Kerouac. "For your journey, come back and tell me about it someday." Jada's throat tightened. "Thank you." More people approached. The mailman who delivered to the farmhouse for years, the woman who owned a coffee shop, even Pastor Johnson, who pressed a blessing in her palm and told her, "God loves brave hearts." But her parents didn't come. Jada scanned the crowd one last time, hoping despite herself. Nothing. Darius appeared at her elbow, reading her face. "You okay?" "I will be." He kissed her temple. "You ready?" Jada looked at the road stretching out before them, at the bikes ready to roar to life, at the uncertain, terrifying, beautiful future waiting. "One question," she said. "Where are we actually going?" Darius grinned. "Wherever the road takes us. That's the whole point. That's not a plan." "No." His eyes were bright. "It's better." Jada laughed, surprised by the sound, by the lightness in her chest. "You're insane, and you're coming anyway." "Yeah." She looked up at him. "This man who'd crashed her wedding and changed everything." "I am." A motorcycle pulled up beside them. A woman with silver hair and more tattoos than skin waved. "You riding with your man, or you on your own bike?" Jada blinked. "My own club rule. Everyone rides their own iron eventually. But you can start as a passenger. Learn as you go." The woman grinned. "I'm Raven, by the way. Road captain. I'll teach you everything." Something fierce and wild bloomed in Jada's chest. Her own bike, her own freedom. Not just following Darius's journey, but creating her own. "I'll learn," Jada said. Raven's grin widened. "That's what I like to hear." The engine started in sequence, a rolling thunder that shook the ground. Jada climbed onto the bike behind Darius, arms around his waist. And for the first time since Michael had run, she felt whole. Not because of Darius, because of herself, because she'd chosen this. The uncertainty, the adventure, the terrifying possibility of building something real. Darius turned his head slightly. "Last chance to change your mind?" Jada looked back at the town, at the chapel where she'd almost married the wrong man, at the life she'd carefully constructed that had turned out to be a cage. Then she looked forward at the open road, at the horizon, promising things she couldn't even imagine yet. "I'm done standing still," she said. Darius's laugh was pure joy. "Then hold on tight." The convoy rolled out, 60 bikes moving as one, past the chapel, past the community center, past all the places where Jada had been small and scared and acceptable. People watched from the sidewalks. Some waved, some frowned. Jada didn't care anymore. She pressed her face against Darius's back, feeling the rumble of the engine through her entire body, and smiled so wide her face hurt. The abandoned bride was gone. In her place was a woman choosing her own road.